I know we're both kind of football nerds, but again, don't see this man in Madden. He will whoop your ass.
The young Cameron Cade looks like Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, he's done.
Marlon Wayans transforming into
The
this
CGI,
giant,
I need to see the budget on this now.
into this giant maniacal goat, and then he would just like charge Cameron with everything. I think it is one of the best looking and shot movies of the year.
Boom. And welcome back to another episode of Pinoys versus the World. My name is Harald Hyllseth.
My name is Chris Angkico.
Chris, busy day in the town today. We've got speed. We've got I Show Speed in Seattle, but more importantly, at least to us, the Mariners are on the verge of an AL West title coming up. As you can see by our garb, it's a Mariners week in the city.
By the time you watch this and we edit it, we will know for sure.
Jonas will throw up either
Yeah.
really sad versions of us
Yeah.
or celebratory videos of the squad, hopefully clinching the first AL West title in 24 years. Chris, we are 28. I don't even remember 2001. Tell me about it.
No, tell me about it. I don't either.
Tell me about what it was like to also be four in 2001.
Also before, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I remember the weirdest part of childhood. I remember 2003, waking up January 1st, 2003.
Very specific.
I went to sleep. It was January 2004. For some reason, I remember seeing 2003 on the calendar and just not remembering the rest of the year.
That's where you gained sentience.
I gained sentience my first day of preschool. Let me tell you that. That was when my life began. When did your life begin? Random
tangent.
Yeah.
I have a very early memory, speaking of the Mariners, of being in the Kingdome in 1999. But also, I feel like that's not possible because I would have been 2 years old. So maybe I'm just making that up. But let me give you a real one. Moneyball, the Moneyball A's. I remember how much they made me sad around 2003, 2004. Because so much of our lives are connected to baseball. Fortunately and unfortunately for us as Mariners fans, it's like loving a member of the family that really just keeps getting you. Like your family, but oh my God, you make this hard. Unless I don't know if you have a similar experience with our beloved Seattle Mariners, but man,
not really. No, I mean, as long as I can remember, they've been not good.
Look,
until recently.
We were there during the days of Adrian Beltre. Not good. Okay, Adrian Beltre.
Okay, yeah.
Richie Sexton, Russell Branyan, write him up.
Yeah.
But man, so excited for the team.
Yeah. Comment down below your first memory in life. If you're one of our 20 to 50 YouTube views, comment down your
first cognitive memory.
Yeah, first cognitive memory. We'd love to hear it. 2000.
Honestly, it was probably Ichiro hitting 258. I remember sitting in my grandma's room. Probably Jonas as well. If he's obviously editing this one, he can throw it up. But just Ichiro breaking the all-time single-season hit record. Cal Raleigh on the verge of maybe breaking the all-time AL record this year, but broke the Mariners record with 58 home runs. But y'all, we're talking a lot about sports today because obviously this is a movie podcast, but we love our Mariners. We love sports, so let's bring them both together. Chris, yesterday on a whim, we went out and we saw him.
What's the business? What's up?
HIM, all in caps, him. Brand new film directed by Justin Tipping and produced by Monkey Paw, but aka Jordan Peele and his people.
Again, the whole thing is not directed by Jordan Peele.
It's not directed by
It looks like it's directed by Jordan Peele.
Oh yeah.
But it's marketed like that, but it is not. We will definitely talk
Jordan
more
Peele
about
liked
that,
it.
But yes, yeah.
Jordan Peele obviously liked this movie, but the critics did not. We were coming in at 29% Rotten Tomatoes for what that's worth. And I think most of the ratings on Letterboxd kind of fluctuated between 2 and 3 for users, right? But no surprise here. Maybe we'll keep the rating for the end, but I'm going to start off by saying we both were very pleasantly surprised by him. Again, a movie, Chris, that when we were walking out of here, I think there's no better feeling than going into a movie where you have low expectations, coming out feeling like, wow, that was not only worth my time, but I really enjoyed it. So what was your call on him? And especially that the last 24 hours of where your feelings have kind of settled on this movie that's been getting killed by critics.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is my expectations were, I don't think they've been as on the floor as they have been for any movie this year because I was so excited for it. The trailers were cool. The Him trailer was the first trailer shown before Sinners.
Oh, when that came out. That shit hit.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, man. Okay, a football horror movie. I'm like The Substance or Nope for football. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm in, absolutely. Like in the trailers and the marketing they really kind of pulled me in. And then the reviews came out, and they were all crap. And people were just like, wow,
Terrible.
this is a terrible movie, a bad script, all this other stuff. But, you know, so going into it, I was like, okay, if this is like even okay, I will be fine with it. And it turned out to be more than okay. I think there are definitely problems with the script. There are objectively bad parts of it. Like it's like from top to bottom, it's still like not like a great script. But the cinematography is great, the soundtrack is great, the editing is great. Like everything, like the performances are great. Marlon Wayans, Tyreek Withers as the two leads are very good with what they're given. I think everyone kind of below the line and like, you know, in front of the camera is doing really well. It's just the script is kind of the limiting factor in why this movie is not getting like, you know, even okay reviews. It's like,
well, that's the crazy
it's just,
part.
like the packaging is great, but the substance of it, no pun intended, the substance of it is like not all there.
Well, that's the crazy part too, is when you're talking about like a script, obviously the script is the spine of any good movie, any movie that anyone, like from the critics to individual people, will enjoy a lot. Like if the writing's not there, like why would I write it? I mean, why would I want to see something like, yeah, why would I write it? Why would I want to see something like this? Especially when you get a feeling in your gut, like we were kind of getting. I know we kind of had a similar feeling the first 5 to 10 minutes of the movie. Maybe not a bee alert, mosquito alert. That's a mosquito alert.
I'm wearing long sleeves though, so I'm doing okay.
I'm gonna get
this time.
attacked.
Yeah,
I'm getting attacked.
you're wearing pants at least, but
See, this is the
arms
inverse.
your arms might be in trouble. We have the opposite. We have an inverse problem here.
As you can tell, it's a Seattle fall is in the middle right now. We're getting
You just take your pick.
Beautiful weather.
You just take your pick.
Mosquito
Yeah.
or bees? Comment down below. Mosquito or bees? No, we're team bees. We're team save the bees. But I'll restart that thought on the movie in general by agreeing with you that that first 5 to 10 minutes with the writing, and kind of just the pacing of the film, you know, with going into it feeling not so strong, especially given how critics were feeling about it. I was just like, dang, you know, we're gonna sit in here. It's a tight 90-ish minutes. Like, you know, shout out hashtag bring back movies that are 90 minutes, around 90 minutes. That's a long hashtag. Don't write that down, Jonas. But I do love me a good like short-ish movie, especially we're going to talk about Demon Slayer here in a bit as well. That's a 2.5-hour movie. We get a lot of long movies, so I'm like at the worst case scenario if this film.
We're not talking about Demon
us.
Slayer in this episode.
We're not talking about Demon Slayer in this episode.
For us, we're going to talk about it very soon, but like not in this episode.
You'll see that episode in a few weeks.
Yeah.
But when I'm coming out of this, like I'm feeling strong, like you said about the cinematography. It looks beautiful, man. When those fonts hit. Like, slight spoiler alert from here on forward. Like,
we might as well just go into spoilers.
We're just going to be in spoilers for the rest of the episode. Each time that the day transitions hit with the music bumping, like you were talking about how good the music was. We got Guapdad 4000, Denzel Curry, Mavi. I mean, shoot, I'll send Jonas a pic from the time you and I and XD and Chris got a chance to see Guapdad 4000 open
and
for
Earth Gang, yeah.
6 years ago now.
Yeah, that's wild.
Nearly 6 years ago this fall. So we'll throw up a pic of our favorite Pinoy boy, fellow Filipino, Guapdad 4000.
That's basically how long we've been friends.
Yeah, 6 years.
Like that was the first time we actually
happy 6 year friend anniversary.
6 year friend anniversary. There you go.
The Pinoyverse grows every day.
There you go.
But the music, whenever that music hits at each transition of each following day, again, talking about another connection to a movie where we were kind of more mixed on, and probably I have the same score for both these movies at the end of the day, but Weapons, when each chapter hit in Weapons, I'm like, doesn't work for me. In this movie, the chapter/day setup for how just egregiously, like, it gets my senses pumping every single day they switch day to day, because it almost made no sense in a way where, like, I appreciated it because it mixed well with, like, how everything looked on the film, how the actors were kind of acting their asses off. Like you're saying, Marlon Wayans and Tyreek Withers are just incredible in this. I never thought I'd even be saying this. Shout out Julia Fox as well for giving a really good performance as herself. Like we said, I don't even know if she's acting. She's just Julia Fox in here. But there's a lot to love here. I think if you like sports, especially if you love football, there's a lot to love. I think if you're a horror fan, it's kind of a funny film too, which again, I can see why Jordan Peele really wanted to get this under Monkey Paw and help produce the film. Imperfect, sure. Writing lacks heavily from end to end. But there's so much in this movie to like that I found it impossible to leave the theater last night wanting to hate it. And like, I feel like I have a predisposition to really letting other people's opinions affect my own prior to like a hyped movie. Him wasn't necessarily as hyped as The Sinners, but it was getting some good traction and had a really nice ad campaign leading up that got you and I excited about it. And I will throw it over to you as a resident football nerd. I know we're both kind of football nerds, but again, don't see this man in Madden, he will whoop your ass. There is something about the first 10 minutes. I know you were talking about like, where's the real football? Where's my Friday Night Lights cinematography for how a game's looking for these what are they called? The Saviors, basically the Patriots.
The San Antonio Saviors.
Oh, so they're from San Antonio.
The San Antonio Saviors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think the movie is like Marlon Wayans' character especially is like a commentary on like Tom Brady. Because the whole thing, like the original title of the movie was going to be GOAT. But Steph Curry has an animated movie coming out called GOAT, so they had to change the title of the movie to him. And so, and him still work. I think that's a better title than GOAT, honestly. But the movie is basically about Marlon Wayans' character. What's his name?
Isaiah White.
Isaiah White. That's what it is.
Isaiah White.
Isaiah White. He basically gets injured gruesomely during a random game. Like he does like a Kevin Ware thing. We're definitely not going to show that.
Please, you want to talk about earliest memories?
Oh, Kevin Ware.
The Kevin Ware injury.
That was a traumatic injury.
Was that in like the early rounds of March Madness?
I don't remember.
But I remember watching it. We were all watching a big game.
Yeah.
Shout out Louisville. Shout out Peyton Siva. God.
Anyways,
Terribly
that was a terrible
injury.
injury, and that's what reminded me of that. Basically, yeah, the bone is doing stuff, not in the body.
It looked like he snapped his thigh in half.
Basically, yeah. Well, I won't get too more into the description there, but basically, he gets really injured. And then it skips a bunch of years, and then Marlon Wayans has won tons of championships in this like United States Football Federation, USFF.
8 in particular, which is insane.
8 championships,
crazy.
One more than Tom Brady, and they also make it a point that there's a hat on like the overhang of his like trophy of like the trophy case or whatever that he's won. He won championship 49, which obviously Tom Brady unfortunately won Super Bowl 49.
Unfortunately for us.
And so he's basically regarded as like, again, the GOAT, the greatest player of all time. And Cameron Cade as a kid and growing up, he basically wants to be the GOAT himself. He wants to be the best quarterback of all time and like usurp him. And this sort of movie follows, like it skips a bunch of time and then he grows up. And so he's like training for the combine. He's like the #1 draft pick. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes up and just like bashes him on the head.
Nice little jump scare.
Yeah, it is a jump. Like
it's a good jump scare.
The jump scares in this are actually really good. Like they actually did get me. And
you're talking about the girl to our left of us.
The girl to our left of us.
Whoa.
When like the guy comes up to slash him the first time, when like like it was like a really audible gasp.
Oh yeah. It got me too.
There's no other sounds. It just cuts and he's just standing behind him.
Well, no, it's the sound of him. He's like plinking off of the uprights, and the uprights are doing like if you've ever hit an upright or a goalpost and it's like shaking.
The upright is shaking, and then
it cuts off.
The ball is spinning so that he's
beautiful.
looking at the ball, and then all of a sudden he picks up the ball and looks up, and then boom.
Yeah.
And then the title card comes.
It's great.
I was like, whoa, okay, like this is cool. And then it kind of goes through like the whole experience of like a prospect being like paraded like a piece of meat, which I really enjoyed. Like people are just like, oh, you're gonna perform and all this other stuff. You got to talk to the media. You got to like run a dash for us, and they do make very obvious commentary about that. They literally basically say like, oh yeah, you're paraded around like a piece of meat, which I enjoyed because that's what I always think about the combine.
Well, I was about to say, it's the beginning of really good commentary, like effective commentary on not only the NFL, but the GOAT conversation that we're all very susceptible to. I mean, look, this is a big shout out, like on a very serious note, big shout out to legends of the league, Najee Harris and James Conner both went out with pretty significant and gruesome injuries. And here I am on Sleeper as a fellow dynasty player, a fantasy sicko. But the real sickos are the ones like commenting all the time about, yeah, good for me because I have James Conner's backup and I'm going to play Trey Benson. And you're just sitting here and I'm sitting there after watching him. I'm like, damn, this really is kind of how we all are. Like you're really hoping that these grown men and these real human with real emotions, that I think him really hits on the nail of like kind of like how that affects someone in a horror sense as well, right? It's like obviously not a realistic take, but it has good takes on it. And I think like the commentary comes through and how he interacts with not only his agent, which is a terrible, terrible guy, but also like a complicated relationship with balancing his family life, just trying to stick with it. But he's got everything from money, women, like just generally wanting to be the GOAT from the day he was born. Like he was conditioned to want to be the GOAT by his dad, who's also passed away. So this guy's dealing with a lot in this film other than just trying to go #1, which I was like, what is the draft like in this? Like, do they just sign people? There's no draft?
Again, a super interesting premise that the dad like wants his son to be like awesome at football, but at the cost of basically just not being a dad at all. And so
Seriously.
Like he's got a brother in this movie who is like very reminiscent of the dad. He's just like kind of like up in Cameron's face and he's just kind of like very irritable. He tries to cut his hair like before the combine, and like he like cuts the stitches that are like in a football stitch, which is kind of a fun thing. Like he's got enough stitches to make it look like football laces. But then the mom is like much more like supportive, so obviously it's more of like a mama's boy type of thing, you know, kind of one sibling hinges towards another parent's personality. But no, it's just interesting, yeah, and the lead up to the draft and all that stuff, kind of the pressure, and then, you know, the call comes that Isaiah White wants to basically help Cameron heal from his injury and train so that he can become like the next GOAT. Like he's thinking about hanging it up. He's hanging about like his last season. Who's the successor going to be? It's kind of like a fucked up version of the Green Bay Packers.
Oh my god,
type of thing. It's like if Aaron Rodgers like called Jordan Love out to his weird secret ayahuasca hut and just like said, "I'm going to train you until you know you can replace me," sort of thing.
Very realistic combination of Aaron Rodgers having a Tom Brady-esque Montana ranch is kind of what the whole
so like
set
he goes
looks like.
he goes to the ranch. It's funny because he's got like these like Amazon packages he hasn't brought in.
They never addressed it.
He just like picks up the packages and throws them in. But like anyways, we're at this place. He has his own, like he's so rich obviously that he owns his own football field. He's like in the desert by himself. And so he's got like this compound that's like in the shape of maybe the logo of the team. I forgot exactly what
I think it's his like personal logo.
It's his personal brand logo.
Yeah,
okay, that would make sense.
Again, like TB,
like
TB12.
It's like it's basically like if TB12 had a compound that was in the shape of his TB12 logo. But he basically walks in and then like Marlon Wayans is like he's like chiseling away at some stuff.
Just bumping some kind, again, good music, but is it kind of unhinged? Just be blasting that music and not even like answering the door.
Yeah, and he has a lot of like religious imagery, and like the first thing that he says about like, you know, about football and like being the GOAT is like some like, you know, like the Indians like invented the forward pass.
It all comes
and, like,
back
the
to
white
Indian
the
country.
white dudes. That's when I knew. I was like, that's like a really weird thing to say, but for this movie and like who he is and like what we're talking about, like it worked for me because that's just like a stupid thing to say. But then it basically is like, okay, like you want to, you know, you need to sacrifice, you need to be the GOAT and all that stuff. And then like, let's start training. And then from there, it's just like a series of just these weird vignettes in between training.
Oh yeah.
Like you just see stuff. He's getting injected with weird things. You know, he's got like hyperbaric chambers that turn up a really high. You know, he's got like cold plunges. He's got weird, the one jump scare, I say before we even get into the compound, I'll just keep jumping back and forth here. The jump scare that really got me, there was like a bunch of fans, like basically like that worship
right outside
the thing. And there's a jump scare. This one lady just like boom, she's like right in front of the car window. I was like, whoa, that got me. There were some jump scares in here. Like a lot of the horror movies that I've watched this year, like I kind of gear up for the jump scare and like I see it and it doesn't really get me. Him was the first time where like maybe I was just so interested in the football that like really the jump scares like actually got me this. Like for this movie, and I was not expecting that. I was not expecting the jump scares to be as effective as they were.
Well, now that we're talking about it, like honestly chatting about like one of the scarier parts of the movie is how the fans are portrayed and how rabid they are. Like you're talking about that one woman, I'm sure it's just an unnamed fan, but she not only comes into factor later in the film for one of the better like horror elements of the entire film as a whole. But yeah, from the very beginning when she's just kind of all over the SUV, kind of looking like how people were all over iShow Speed's like car earlier. Like life is truly imitating art in this way. But there's this kind of like rabid, incessant need for any of us as fans of any kind of person, especially with the NFL, to kind of like deidize these people, right? Like, and you know, there's some commentary throughout the entire movie about, you know, gladiators. Like Jim Jeffries' doctor character talks a lot about like, yeah, back in the day, just used to be gladiators, like different day, same shit type of vibes. Like he's like, you are basically the gladiators of the arena. That's not new commentary. We've heard that many times when it comes to football players, but we've got a lot of these films with surrounding NFL, surrounding commentary on bashing skulls into each other. Even Jim Jeffries says that at one point is like, surprise, mate. Like, you know, these human skulls were meant to be banging into each other.
Yeah, I also like that Marlon Wayans, you can tell, like, again, his performance is great.
Oh, he's giving it 110%.
He gives it 110%. He makes a lot of these like subpar lines and like subpar scenes, like makes them decent and like actually fun to watch because he's really like giving it his all. I do like the whole thing, like, you know, it's very generic dialogue, but he's like talking with Cameron in the sauna in this one scene. He's like, I'll miss the game, I'll miss the fans and all that stuff. And again, I just can't think. I can't help but think of Tom Brady because he retired, and then like he's like, I can't not play football. So then his wife,
all he knows.
Then his wife leaves him, and then he just goes back and plays football again. It's one of those like because he's the GOAT. Like he's just obsessed with the game and like just being the best at it. That like he basically it just consumes his life and like breaks him and stuff. Like and then like Cameron Cade like he talks about like having a family and stuff. He wants to like feed his family for generations. Like Isaiah doesn't have that. Like
it's like it's Julia Fox. Like big spoiler alert at the very end. Julia Fox. I'm just gonna call her commish of the league, but yeah, she's a part of this big like back room, and we'll get to the point of the big finale at the very end. But she is like a big part of kind of apparently how all of this was set up and which led to a certain point. So is Julia Fox's character just like with Isaiah White for a period of time that he is the GOAT, et cetera, right? No, it's great commentary on it because it's like, what is there room for family if you're going to be the greatest of all time?
Yeah.
Note on Tom Brady. I mean, that's what made it difficult, I'm sure, for a lot of fans. Not for us because we're Hawks fans, but I'm sure most of the league. And you got to respect it at a certain point. He was just so ridiculously good. Like, we got a chance to watch everyone from Drew Brees, Peyton Manning play football, but there was no one that even touched Tom. And that's what was so scary about that dude. And what's so scary about him nowadays is that he's now involved in all these football ventures because that's like what he committed himself to. He's like, I don't need Giselle. I barely need my kids at this point. It's just, it's football.
He's
football
basically
family
like,
god.
Yeah, he's basically like in real life. He's like any excuse to play or be around football. I don't care about the conflicts of interest. Or anything like that.
Arrest me.
I just want to play football. Like he's playing flag football, in Saudi Arabia. He's a part owner of the Raiders. He's sitting in the
about kicking dogs
with the headset in the coach's booth, and he's an announcer. Like he just can't get enough of football, and he's like, if I can't play it, I have to hover around it as much as possible. And I would think that if, again, I'm just gonna go just jump to spoilers. Or if Marlon Wayans does not die at the end of this movie, I feel like he'd be trying to do that. Like, or if he wasn't trying to steal the youth of other players, he would basically try to like hover around the game as much as possible. Maybe become the owner. That
would have been a nice little twist.
The league. That would have been very interesting.
That would have been a fun twist.
I think that's the problem with this movie is that it goes in a lot of interesting directions, and I'm fine with where it ended up. But there's a lot of things you really could have gone deeper on.
Oh yeah.
Like I wish like the whole like Cameron's relationship with his I wish the dad was still around because clearly that's like a very toxic relationship that tons of parents have with their talented kids.
Yeah.
In athletics, like they just want them. They're basically living vicariously through their kids. To be good at sports because either they really want it, they want to like be known as like a successful family, as a successful kid, or they couldn't get it themselves.
Little league parents in every single sport, they exist. If it's baseball, soccer, football, etc., like they exist everywhere. Living through your children. I mean, I even got me. It's a great point because at the very beginning, I kind of got a little bit of a double take because I was like, did the dad die or did the brother die? Like who was in the military? Like it could have been a bigger part of it because it comes back at the very end that you find out that the owner of the, gonna call them the sinners, might as well be the saviors. There's a lot of devil imagery throughout this film connected to the saviors, for obvious reasons. But the whole lineup of the owners of the saviors, having already met Tariq's dad and Tariq at a very young age, and obviously Cameron. Cameron. Tariq Withers. Shout out Tariq Withers throughout this entire film. But God, the way I wrote this up, Cameron Cade.
Tariq Woolen.
Shout out Tariq, man. All the Tariqs out there. Cameron Cade has a moment at the very end of this film. Another note on Tariq Withers. Great performance. Really, really freaking strong, man. Like I do wonder what would be next for him after this because he's like the perfect mix of actually being a former football player, wideout, walk on for Florida State, I have written down. And not a quarterback, but obviously can fit the frame of a very active first round pick, like a very ripped version of Josh Allen. Like a nice tall. Again, they treat him like specimens, like you're put in a cage. He kind of like people on you for this.
The kid that plays the young Cameron Cade looks like Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, he does.
He looks like Patrick Mahomes. If they made a biopic about Patrick Mahomes today, that kid would be Patrick Mahomes.
Incredible.
It's kind of crazy. I think that's probably what they were going for. Yeah. They wanted a guy. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm literally just stream of consciousness. They probably wanted a guy that kind of looks like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. It's like a combination of all these things. I mean, look, there's stuff in like commentary that we're not even going to be able to say because we are not of the culture. But like, there's a lot of commentary on being black in the league and being like a black quarterback as well. That kind of like comes in and out of conversation.
Like Marlon Wayans, I'm pretty sure directly says that. He's like,
he
a black quarterback, you have to be perfect type of thing. Yeah. He definitely says that.
And we're living in the era of the black quarterback and people like also loving and hating people
over
for
half the
very
league.
invalid reasons.
Over half the league is at least at the start of the season had black starting quarterbacks, and that's really not like having a black quarterback's not a big deal now. It's just like I feel like that's just something that like these like ESPN like they say just because they need something to they always need more content to pump out.
Yeah.
But like it's just a black quarterback is just not a big deal anymore. It was in the 80s.
It was even like probably 20 years ago.
That's
honestly.
the thing. It was in the 80s, 90s, but like now it's like who cares? Like whoever's the best player on the team is just gonna play quarterback. Tua.
Yeah.
Is in the league.
Tua.
I mean he's in the league for now.
Brethren.
He's in the league for now.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. It's not a big deal about the ethnicity of the quarterback. It's just like can you play?
Yeah. It is sadly still a big deal if you say anything that isn't about football. But there you go.
That's true.
That's commentary for another day.
But on the field,
baby.
I don't think people care as much these days. But yeah. But I do want to talk now about like the training, the actual training.
One of the
scenes.
craziest speaking of training arcs, like training montages are one of our favorites if it's done well. We talk a lot about in Creed, man. The training montage in Creed. Let's go, man. One of the best of all time.
I think you bring up a good point because most sports movies, especially about like really brutal sports, are very inspiring and like uplifting. And this one goes the complete opposite way.
Oh my God. Tell them about it.
It's like they just want to, literally they want to beat Cameron into the ground. Like Isaiah White wants to basically destroy Cameron and like just so because he wants to basically prove that like he's literally a killer. He wants him to literally be a killer.
And he's not really a killer at the beginning. That's what's crazy is that Isaiah White does kind of change his soul from the moment he steps foot in the compound.
Yeah, basically he's trying to mend him into the goat so that he can again, spoilers, so he can give him his blood and then kind of pass on the goat tradition. Because there's it's blood that's been passed on from like 3 different players.
No, I do, and you mentioned at the very end that you get light insinuation that maybe the GOAT wasn't a quarterback in every generation.
Yeah.
Could have been a middle linebacker, could have been a running back.
Yeah, I think
what I mean?
I think because like the first jersey was like number 75, so that could have been like a lineman of some kind.
Big pads, big shoulder pads,
and then
Ray Lewis type.
And then number 31, I could see that as being a fullback because the fullbacks in the 60s were like the biggest part of football. I'm thinking of like. Put it on the screen. Jim Taylor, he's like a fullback from the Green Bay Packers who was like, kind of goated back in the day when the Packers were winning a bunch of championships. That's kind of what that reminded me of. Maybe that was him. And then at some point, he gets his hands on Isaiah White, and then he just passes that on. Then it becomes the quarterback, and then it becomes a quarterback conversation. And now the quarterback is the center of football. And so I liked that. It's definitely effed up. But I just like kind of like the progression of like, the GOAT could be something different. The quarterback wasn't as important back in the day. But anyways, the training scenes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think the one that really jumps out to me is...
It was day 2. I believe it was day 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like they're always just kind of like getting him out of bed like really abruptly. And
abruptly for the audience too. I mean, I got to say that real quick is that like when you're like getting thrown day to day to day, you don't know like the non-linear storyline it is linear, but the way that like it's told and kind of like you're not really sure if this man is hallucinating things because he's gotten some injections from Jim Jeffries at this point. Like he's gone through the ringer a bit with just everything happening in the compound, but like you just don't know what's real and what's not because of the initial head contusion that he suffers at the very beginning of the movie.
That's a good point. He kind of you kind of question reality in this entire movie.
What it must be like to be a football player that's suffering from CTE.
Yeah, because
like,
he's
you're
also
just like what is happening?
Because it's like is Isaiah actually telling the truth or is he just gaslighting him? Because there's certain things that happen that like, we clearly saw that, but then he's like, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Or like, he tries to like play it off as it wasn't like a big deal. But like in the training scenes, there's this one that really jumps out where it's like a drill where he basically like drops back to throw and there's like four receivers and he's got to like basically has 2 seconds time to throw, quick throw to one of the receivers. And if they catch the ball, it's fine. But then there's this other white dude who's literally they're all called
receiver.
First of all, Isaiah White's like they're all free agents with nothing to lose.
Yep.
So they're basically like again their bodies.
It's Lad McConkey.
No, it's a commentary on just like undrafted free agents bodies, whatever
Shout out River Craycraft.
The practice squad. We're shout out River Craycraft.
Yeah,
it's funny. But he did play for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
But anyway, so basically the white dude like he's basically he's put over to the jug machine, and he just has to wait there.
You kind of see him in the periphery too. Like it's again one of the best shots of the film.
No, the cinematography again from top to bottom. There's really not a bad shot in the besides like the actual generic football stuff at the very beginning of the movie. there isn't like a bad shot in the movie.
The
Like,
sauciest part of the movie is the cinematography.
it's very saucy. Like, it's a super saucy
Drop
movie.
that.
For as unsaucy as the script might be at times, the cinematography and the editing together are very saucy. But so basically the drill is that, like, okay, if they catch the ball, it's fine. Or if he gets the throw off, fine. But if he doesn't get the throw off, or the receiver drops the ball, then basically this white dude gets a jug machine football straight to the face.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
Like, at a point,
Yeah.
you see that his entire canine has been torn out of one of his, one of his canines has been torn out of his mouth. Don't even know how that can happen from a football. But yeah, bro's literally lost sight probably permanently in his right eye. And it's just covered in lacerations. And he's over here at the very end of it, right? Like, he snaps into it. Cameron Cade's like, I've got to do this. He starts getting mad at his wideouts, right? And what they kind of, Isaiah White kind of talks about how these are just some people trying to make it, like you said, undrafted free agent type shit. But he's like snapping at his wide receivers, and Isaiah gets so close to Cameron Cade and is talking to him about the means, like, this is on you, like you that motherfucker, like you're the guy that's got to go out here and take on all the responsibility on your shoulder. Like, that's some of the best writing in this movie, is I think showing Isaiah White's teetering kind of ideology. Sometimes he's chill like a Tom Brady, but I'm sure Tom Brady and many of the GOAT type figures who have suffered from the pains of football, the not so glamorous side of being a celebrity at that level, the ups and downs of your career. Again, if you're the GOAT, like, you're expected to maintain that high level. Like, I don't know, we all love, like, for example, this is no shouts out to the man, but, you know, Mike Robb, bro, like the Mike Robb report for like talking about a Seahawk that wasn't like the greatest of all time at his position. I'm sure he has less pressure in his post like career to kind of like be that guy, or like even when he was performing. You know, there are football players who have different ways of kind of taking that, but if you are the GOAT, I think they show and write Isaiah White's character to be pretty realistic. And again, part of the good commentary of the film. And it's interesting when Marlon Wayans is like in his face, like constantly, I'm like, this dude is on the edge of like shooting him. And like, there isn't even a scene in the movie where he's got a gun.
Yeah, he holds a gun to his face.
He's like, did you fuck her? Like, there's so much random shit in this movie like that. But I mean, that's why I kind of want to ask you about like unless you wanted to finish a little bit of the conversation on that training montage, but just the balance between Cameron Cade and his descent into slowly becoming a combination of like Cameron Cade and Isaiah White, and how Isaiah White kind of acts throughout the entire movie. I mean, he's all the way around here. He's the most disorienting part of the film, in my opinion. But I think that plays into what I like about it in a lot of ways. Do you like Isaiah White? Do you think Isaiah White would be a good quarterback for the Seahawks? Side note.
I mean, I'm not even going to answer that question. But I do like the fact that, like, yeah, Isaiah White, like, slowly tries to change Cameron into a killer, basically. A killer on the field and also just a killer in general.
Killer of killers.
You know, he's basically just like, you know, predator, killer of killers. There you go. That's another one. But I do like that. Yeah, the certain times where it's like, I need you to understand that football is the only thing. That's basically like, if you want to be the GOAT, you can't think about your family. You can't think about anything else.
Don't be blaming anyone but yourself.
But succeeding at football, and like, you are the quarterback, and like he very, very explicitly says, like, yeah, all the glory, all the blame is on you. You have to take responsibility for everything that happens. And like, I think that is true. But the way he like exhibits that to him is very fucked up. Yeah, just the fact that basically this dude, he's basically like, responsibility. You're gonna take responsibility for this guy in the jug machine.
Yeah,
just getting
like,
pegged in the face and bloodied up.
He's like, yo, is my guy okay? And then he gets up, and you're reminding me of one of my favorite parts of that scene is at the very end when the guy who's been getting just absolutely destroyed by these balls to the face, he tries to get some kind of like reaction from Isaiah White, and Isaiah White's just like the biggest gaslighter that's ever existed.
He's like, why are you laughing?
Why are you laughing?
Why are you laughing?
Bro's just left with like life-changing injuries, just because he probably wanted to be there because his GOAT called on him. But he's like, I will do this. I will be very excited to be the subject of pain for your enjoyment, almost.
But I like that Cameron, once Isaiah says that to Cameron, like, you need to take responsibility, then he's just getting on everyone's ass.
Oh yeah,
about like how they're not performing,
real
and all
quarterback
this stuff.
shit.
So like real quarterback shit.
Yeah.
And then there's another scene where it's like basically an extreme version of like pocket presence and like pocket movement, where basically all these dudes are just like scraping them and trying to spear them and all this other stuff, trying to
one of the best scenes in the movie.
Just really hit them a lot. And this is where it go into the cinematography, because there's a scene in the trailer where basically like these two dudes, like, he locks helmets with this other guy, and then it turns X-ray vision. X-ray vision in this movie is like excellent. It's like an excellent idea, no pun intended, but it is excellent. Like, they're basically like There's a scene, where they collide, and it's X-ray vision for probably 30 to 45
And it's
seconds.
like at a snap,
and you
at
have
a moment's
no
notice.
and you have no idea which person killed the other person.
Okay, so that wasn't
Yeah.
just me. I was like,
Yeah.
who just died here?
Yeah.
Because the way that it was filmed is like, okay, maybe he turns around and he's gonna do a crown to crown type of hit. Because a crown of the football helmet, if you're not familiar, and just like going straight into another person's head like that is what is an immediate 15-yard penalty in the NFL, and like probably the cause of many of our favorite players' concussions over the years in real life. Like, so for that to happen, like in this movie, and it's like the perfect premise for like a horror football setting. It's like the horror of getting an injury. That's like unfortunately like the only person I can think of to mention him again is like the minute you find out that it was Cameron Cade that inflicted this on someone else. The guy that he hit is on the ground and suffering from what looked like it was like what it was like to see Tua Tagovailoa get hit last season. Like one of the scariest things I've seen in a football field. And just one of the scarier things that you see from anyone is when they all kind of crunched up and their like brain is like buzzing out because they just got hit by another human.
Yeah, well, I think it's set up really well because the football player that the player that he collides with is obviously very delighted in like trying to beat the shit out of Cameron.
Yeah.
So then when Cameron like basically they collide and Cameron turns it on, it is like, yeah, like let's go. Like I just killed you.
Because Isaiah
sort of.
White's like, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, and then at that moment
I'm so proud of you,
he's
man.
like, that's basically, he doesn't say this exactly in the movie. He's like, that's what I want from you, sort of thing. Like that's what you're here to do. Like basically develop a literal killer instinct.
And then they have like a savior's prayer circle like around the guy dying,
circle, and
dude.
they just start like chanting stuff.
Oh, man.
But then
Crazy.
the shot that I was talking about that was really stood out to me was like the dude is on the ground and he's about to die and he like reaches up with his hand and the glove, the bloody glove is like a Nike logo on it.
Just do it.
I was like, wow, that's crazy. I can't believe they got away with that.
I had to rock Adidas today just for that. I was like, yeah, kick check.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't have it. I'm cooked.
How did Nike even allow that? Like, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like,
sure.
I'm just like, even if that's not the exact Nike logo, it looks like a Nike logo.
Yeah.
And it's just like right on the center of the glove. And he's just reaching out and like gasping for air.
When this film comes out on digital, someone's got to clip that and then put just like black and white it. Just do it at the very end. It'll be a terrible way to sell your football gloves, Nike. I will ask Jonas to throw up a couple. I was showing you the immediate comp I had from the really cool X-ray angle because it happens multiple times in the film. It comes back at the very end of the film for like the gladiator type battle when they're like fighting for him. When he's like, I am him. And like him's blood, like the one's blood that passes on, either he's going to steal the youth or he's going to keep it pushing. That effect of the X-ray hits reminded me greatly of Skate 1 through 3. If any of you are familiar with some of the greatest video games of all time, Skate just came out as I officially Skate, but Skate 4 really. But there is something called Hall of Meat, and I showed you this afterwards. The Hall of Meat, we'll throw it up here. Just a fun little exercise in how fucked up you can get your character in Skate and jumping from large buildings and stuff and see how many bones you can break. So let's take that effect and throw it into a movie where it's terrifying because you're like, oh yeah, this is real life. You don't just respawn after you get killed on the football field. Again, regrettably, something that's happened and come close to happening multiple times in recent years for the NFL in particular. Like we've had some close calls. Literally, someone, shout out Damar Hamlin, came back to life, like on the football field. I do kind of want to like use that as a slight transition, talking away from football, Chris. I want to talk a bit more about the music. I know we touched on it lightly at the beginning. I'm a big fan of the music in this movie. If it's soundtrack or original music created by the folks that I was talking up at the front with like Mavi, Guapdad 4000, etc. How do you think it worked as like a horror soundtrack or just a soundtrack in general, especially with those IMAX speakers? Love hearing booming bass and synths in a setting like that. It always hits.
Yeah, I think for the most part, it kind of delves on like kind of a training, like kind of a Creed-like training, like album sort of thing. But it does take a few like turns in the score for sure. But I think they really kind of wanted to keep that as normal as possible. I think with again just kind of ominous, but like the songs were like really good. They felt like things that like the movie's edited like a music video, and like a rap music video. And like some of the title cards look like something that'd be like out of the Weeknd, like a Weeknd video or like a Kendrick video. And so I really just enjoyed like the whole like, I guess, interplay between the music editing and just like what you're seeing on the screen. Sometimes there's like one scene where like that reminded me of Black Panther in particular, where the first time like Killmonger takes the throne, like the camera like spins all the way. It's like he's upside down and he's walking, and then like it slowly turns right side up as he sits down. That was one of the openings of the title card for in him, was like they're both jogging and it's like upside down and it turns, and like the music's bumping there too. I don't know, just a lot of cool moments of like, yeah, just I can't think of really anything like in particular where like the music super stood out, but it just felt like, okay, like it's kind of a play on like a football hype video or a training video, but just kind of in a really fucked up way.
And that you hit it right on the nail. Like, I don't think the music itself is like the reason you're going to go out and see this movie, but it's a really good like kind of glue for like especially the day-to-day transitions like we were talking about. Great note on the music video type feel, Chris, because the moment you said that after we saw this movie, it clicked for me that what the itch in my brain I was trying to scratch was like, what does this remind me of? Almost the entire run post To Pimp a Butterfly and around the time Damn came out for Kendrick. So I think that's a great comp, because I'm just like, yeah, those bright red letters when you go day to day and like talking about what Cameron's gonna have to get up to in the compound really reminds me of kind of that run that he was on music video wise for a while. I mean, shoot, even Mr. Morale's got a lot of stuff like that, like Dave Free and his collaborators for music videos in general, very spot on. Real quick note, I know we mentioned Julia Fox at the top. Kind of funny. She's funny in this movie, and she's kind of charismatic. Like, again, I think she's just being herself, which is why she was probably cast.
No, it's like she's not even acting. It really doesn't feel like she's acting at all. It just feels like she's just kind of like saying the lines as she would say it, or like maybe she even like wrote it herself.
Like the butt plug stuff seems like something she would push on social media.
Yeah, there's this
which is like not even like that far from
the
being
first
real.
thing you see her do is like basically like the assistant is filming her advertising the butt plugs, probably like an Instagram ad, and like, you know, it's just like we do men now sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then she gives like Cameron K, one of them is like, put it up your butt sort of thing.
Yeah,
I thought
put
that
up
was
your butt,
funny.
honey.
That was really funny.
The comedy in this movie is kind of interesting. I use Julia Fox as kind of a stepping stone for that, because the comedy, the more I thought about it, gave me it was reminiscent. Like some of the comedy made me uncomfortable. I think it's in the way that it's like, that's not the way I would joke about things. Like, it's the way NFL players would joke about things, talking about like women, talking about like a lot of sexual innuendos, especially when they ask Cameron K to strip down naked, and he strips down naked. He's like, what are we playing on? At the very end of the movie, they're like, man, this was weird, man. I don't know why you took your pants off. You don't have to do that. Like, it's not even gaslighting, but I feel like there's constantly a push in the film with the comedy to kind of make you uncomfortable in that way, because that seems like the way the players be joking in like the locker room.
The locker room talk is definitely what I thought of. It's like basically like a weird version of locker room talk.
Yeah, seriously.
For sure. No.
I'm talking about, he's like, no OnlyFans, no Grinder, no none of this. And I'm like, kind of, again, compliment sandwich. The writing can get still weird even if the comedy hits sometimes. No insert
adult film site here. He like lists like 3 of them.
Yeah, he said no porn too.
I don't even think like some of those are real. I have no idea.
Man, it's so fun. We're like, man, would this even get demonetized? We're not even monetized. We're just talking about the shit that they talk about in the film. No, but I mean, maybe we compliment sandwiches before we talk about the finale. Maybe we should talk a bit more.
Sandwiches?
No, compliment sandwich.
Okay. Compliment.
Hear me out on this.
I was like, we're gonna I heard it as like
gonna compliment the sandwiches.
I'm like, we haven't talked about sandwiches.
I'm a big fan of a chili chili cheesesteak.
A Reuben.
That sounds terrible.
A Reuben.
Give me a Reuben. How about a good turkey Swiss with a little bit of arugula?
Okay.
Yeah.
Or rocket, as they call it.
Oh, a rocket,
outside of
that's
the U.S. Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah.
We'll maybe have an episode on pizza and sandwiches in the future. But Chris, the reason I say compliment sandwich this is because even though we did like this more than most, I do think we've talked about a lot. Let's get into it. Poor moments of writing in this film. And I think that's what kind of made me, like, for you have a different way of thinking about this. You felt a lot more into this movie pretty much 5-10 minutes in. Like, I know I said I felt the same way, like about 5 to 10 minutes in as well, but maybe it took about halfway through the movie for it to really click for me. Like, even like the writing kind of lagged a bit to the point where I was like, yeah, I kind of get what the critics are saying. I get what like fellow Letterboxd users are kind of insinuating, that like the writing is just so bad that it's not even a watchable movie. Like, it's a mess, some people say. Yeah.
Which is like that's a complete exaggeration.
It's a gross exaggeration.
But the first 15 minutes, I will say, I was scared.
Yeah.
The first 15 minutes, I was like, this is all like my player, generic, like football, basketball stuff, where like you see the family and they're like, oh, I remember when Cade used to throw that football to his dad, and like we always
thanks,
play catch
coach.
On the field.
Appreciate you.
They're like, yeah, that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh god, like I don't like this at all. There's people like shouting at him in the back. it literally felt like a cutscene where I'm like, I'm supposed to play basketball afterward.
Yeah.
But then once it gets to the compound, the writing definitely evens out and it's better. And like I think the scene setup is cool, but like some of the dialogue is like it's not all there. But again, the performances make it better when it's the two of them. When they're isolated in the compound and the family's not around, none of the other people are around, and it's just more about the GOAT conversation, it's a lot better. Yeah.
Well, the best parts of the movie, and I'm sure it was all written, I don't know how much of this was improv, but, you know, like scenes like Isaiah White and Cameron Cade being in the sauna and just chit-chatting about, like, life and pretty much what it's like to be the GOAT and what it takes, and kind of like they're light insinuating that they're coming for each other's crown, really. Like, it's friendly up until the point where that girl knocks out and then Marlon Wayans kills her. That's a great scene. But again, like, the strongest parts aren't even, like, directly tied into dialogue, I think.
We talk about that. I mean, like, yeah, the strongest parts are tied into dialogue. But then they get crazy scene when, like, you think that Cameron has, like, almost killed this girl, and then Isaiah comes over and, like, uses the Force or
Obi-Wan
something.
Kenobi, dog.
Like, chokes this lady, and then, like, gives her a smooch because she's
crazy.
Because she's a big fan. Pulls her in, gives her a smooch.
Do it for the fans.
Because she's a big fan, and is like, yeah, for the fans. And then throws her against the back of the sauna, and then she dies.
What is in the power of this blood?
Also,
Crazy.
The way that she walks in, she just was hiding in the sauna
the whole time.
And she just crawls up. There's a lot of like weird stuff where people like crawl up or like
justice for the fan.
There's like a jump scare with like paparazzi and like getting choked out by like the pressure and stuff.
Getting choked out with a bag. Like, again, the imagery in this movie as it pertains to just football shit. If you know, you know, and like just sports commentary of that GOAT battle is incredible.
You could say that that's surface level. I think that's what a lot of people think of like surface level stuff. But I don't know. I enjoyed it. I liked it.
I would agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Perfect time then to probably talk about the finale. I mean, I'll probably start the conversation when Julia Fox is asking Cameron Cade if he's ready for this life, and Cameron's just, you know, like normal people do, hitting reps in a full white tux, you know what I mean? He's like, nah, I'm gonna hang behind from this party and hit these reps, girl. But as he's finally convinced to go, because he's like, yeah, the owners are gonna be the saviors. Again, I don't know how this league works. I don't know if there's a draft or anything, but like they kind of want to offer you to be the next GOAT, pretty much, right? It's everything he's been working for in this movie. Walking out, Marlon Wayans like, I'm gonna watch some tape. He holds back. Julia Fox is just like, yeah, what's up with these? Gotta talk with the owner. Obviously, nepotism shit. Like the next person in heir is like his son, so his son is gonna be there. And then you got to put up with the what is it again? The rituals. She's like, and he's like, what's up with the rituals?
Again, it's really just a fucked up version of like, kissing ass for ownership.
Oh man.
Like I'm sure
most like up
players
to
have to do that all the time. Players have to do that, I'm sure, all the time. They have to kiss ass to the owners because they're the ones signing the checks.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like they're
shout out Shador meeting with all the teams and no one liking him for an on-purpose reason, allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
But yeah, they're the breadwinners, and you have to like, the whole commentary is like, doesn't matter how good you are, you got to suck up to the owner sort of thing, unless you become your own brand. I
really hope this isn't what it's like in real life.
But yeah, they basically, it's like, they go into like this weird room and there's just like an excess of stuff. There's also just like a bunch of women, tons of drugs, injections. He's getting injections throughout the entire movie.
He's like puking gems at one point.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
crazy
that's kind
scenery.
of it feels like a hallucination. Like he's puking gems. And then we get to the final thing where it feels like when the moment that contract is, or when that whole thing happens, and then he gets the blood from behind.
Yeah.
Then like Isaiah like wakes up and
Crazy,
and starts training, which is wild. So it's like, again, there's like that spiritual blood connection that they now have.
Because as you find out, the film he's watching film is just the fans.
Yeah, he says that fans. Multiple times, which I love. He's like, I'm just gonna go back and watch some tape, and that's all he's doing. He's like looking. Yeah. He's not even looking at a screen directly in front of him. He's like in like a little mini stage, and he's just looking straight up into like a screen on the ceiling that doesn't have a center, but it's like basically, because I think it's implied that it's going to be him at the center.
Yeah, an omniscope.
An omniscope, and then like just the fans are all around him, just like cheering, and he loves people adoring him. And then Cameron walks in there and is like, all right, well, so the deal is only one person can have this goat blood and
surprise,
and survive.
Yeah.
And so then they have like a little face off, and then they basically just like, I honestly thought, because like, Marlon Wayans basically like, he looks like he's gonna go complete feral. I thought he was gonna transform into a goat.
Oh,
that's what I thought.
Sick.
I
goat
thought
versus
he was gonna,
human who's winning.
I thought this like all the budget was gonna go to like Marlon Wayans transforming into
The
this
CGI.
giant,
I need to see the budget on this now.
into this giant maniacal goat, and then he would just like charge Cameron with everything.
Like he's transforming into the
Yeah.
beast.
I
that
thought he was
going to
transform.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of disappointed, and it was kind of a little funny to me watching them just like these shirtless dudes just like punch each other.
But again, a good time to use the X-ray vision effect again.
Yeah, the
once
X-ray
again.
vision, yeah, because he's like trying to gouge out his eyes, and you can see like what's going on.
Another reference other than Skate Hall of Meat, like you really got to think about, at least for me, if anyone knows about NFL Blitz, NFL Street in particular, they have those cutscenes where it's like someone gets hit, you see the exact bone that's broken. But again, it's like the perfect time to use it.
Yeah. No, and then again, there's that whole battle, and then eventually Cameron wins out. How does he beat him again? I forgot.
Kind of like beats him, so he gets his ass beat. His
what does
his
he whack?
arm
Oh no,
gets
he whacks him
broken.
with a helmet.
Well, he gets whacked in the helmet after getting his right arm snapped in half.
That's true. Yeah, Isaiah White
Like
tries to
pressure-wise.
he like snaps his arm,
crazy.
and then
He's like holding it like this, just trying to make it.
and then he grabs the helmet from like the side of the room, and then it glows. It glows.
We were losing our shit
I was
multiple
like,
times in this movie, but that was
It's
one
like
of the big
a
ones.
glowing gold helmet of destiny.
Yeah.
And then he just beats the shit out of him with it, and then
R.I.P. Isaiah White.
and then he's dead.
That's how
It's
Tom
like,
Brady's
okay,
going out.
Then now he is now him.
Yeah.
He's like, he's the only one with the goat blood in him.
And he walks through the tunnel,
then he
which
walks
is so
through
cool,
a tunnel,
man. Yeah.
which is the football field that he's got out there, and he's got Julia Fox with a big, basically like cursed contract,
Yeah.
like this giant book, but it's like it's supposed to be the contract, like sign this shit, like I run this league sort of thing, like let's do it. And then the owners are like in these weird pig suits and like pigskin helmets. A lot of pigskin imagery.
A lot of pigskin. We love the pigskin.
Literal pigskin imagery.
Yeah,
I thought that was funny.
They pop up. I just thought about this, but that imagery of the owners popping up throughout the entire film. Those are the guys that are popping up with the pigskin helmets and the old school helmets from like the 30s and stuff. So like all the owners and the agent, all the co-contributors. When we mentioned this earlier in the film, he sees the photo of him and his dad and the owner. It's like they've been planning this for years, and thank God, I told you this. Thank God they admitted to being like, this is exactly how he got hit in the head. The saviors are the one who planned this since the very beginning.
They basically, the owners and everyone was like, this cult was like, okay, like we're gonna bash this guy so that he can come in and do this.
Which look again, with the writing being a bit of a mess in this film, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But you just got to kind of accept
doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then the owner kind of is really on the nose, and he's like, "I'll kill your family if you don't sign."
That
this.
was low key hilarious though.
I was like,
"I'll kill
what?
your family."
Like this obviously this old white dude who is saying this line, and he's clearly not all in it.
No,
it's
seriously,
just very funny. Just him half-heartedly say, "I'll kill your family."
I'll kill your family. And then when he hits him with the boy, it's like, ooh, yep. No, the Jerry Jones imagery is hitting hard right now.
Thinking about it now, I kind of get like Mad Sinners vibes from that last, because they're it's just this guy, black dude, like killing all the white people at the end, who are like
in the NFL as well.
They're like
a
calling them
subset
names and stuff. And again, like some people, I'm sure that scene in Sinners doesn't work. It probably would work even less for you in this movie.
Yep.
But like the imagery of it, like he just stands in like the middle of this crest. He's like bloody. There's cheerleaders in the back. I like the whole like kind of demonic like tunnel run out.
Yeah.
It's cool imagery. Again, the writing is like the stuff around it, the why they're there is really weird.
Yeah.
But like the actual like production design and the set pieces look really cool.
Even the agent gets kind of pulled into a hex at the very end. And again, we didn't even mention this, but at the very beginning of the movie and the very end of the movie, especially after Cade's taken a pickaxe to not only all the owners, but he's like just murdered. Julia Fox kills herself because of that weird ass dress she was wearing. But the other guy who's been the right-hand man of Isaiah White this whole time gets the axe straight to the head. So he's on a murder spree, but he does leave for the very end, the agent, to get exploded as the sound of massive American jets flying
the red,
over
white, and blue, the red, white, and blue,
and the way it sounds,
attack helicopters,
the way it sounds in IMAX, especially when it started with it as well in the movie, it's like, holy shit, they're coming from behind just like an actual football stadium.
And they were chanting, like demonically chanting the Star Spangled Banner.
Yes, okay, I thought that's what it was.
I was like, I heard like Land of the Free and Home of the Brave. I was like, damn,
they were not
that's
hiding
crazy.
Any of the intentions of this film.
They're not playing around.
No, they're like,
it might be surface level, but they're not playing around.
Yeah, seriously.
But no, like like when
he explodes like fireworks,
like the hex, and then like he basically just he just goes on a rampage and kills everyone, beheads them and stuff like that. Incredible. I don't know what the resolution of that is. Like it kind of doesn't make any sense. But then like the movie ends, but then you're just like, wow. You're like, I felt great. Like I had a great time with it. It is not a boring. Well, you
almost dropped
you good
it.
there? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we good.
I will say this movie is not boring. You watch it, you will be engaged basically the entire time.
I would agree.
Whether you like it or not, whether you like agree with some of the choices or not, it is not a boring movie. They edit it very fast paced, and it's very quick, and the performances are like energetic enough to where you just like the movie just keeps going.
I feel like
that's
I've
my biggest
seen-
compliment overall for the movie. Yeah,
I've seen a lot of talk online and on Letterboxd. I've got a shout out as well. We talked about substance of the film earlier. People were saying on Letterboxd, I saw a review. It was like, yeah, this is substance for men who like the NFL. Just a lot of body horror in this film, but there's a lot of talk about the writing in the film being so messy that they can't even enjoy these things that we were talking about. Which again, to each their own. It makes sense. But everything that you've kind of lined up here, Chris, would tend to make it believe that we would recommend this film to you. And I do want to throw it over to you for our final thoughts on the film, including score. Again, of a film that's getting destroyed by critics. What do we think? What do you think, Chris and Kiko?
I'm going to give it a 3.5. I did give it a 4 kind of coming out, but I think I had to drop it a half star like in hindsight because I didn't agree with like some of the dialogue and writing decisions. It kind of does knock it down a peg. But 3.5 for everything else. Like literally the rest of the package and some of the places it tries to take the movie are interesting. Does it all work out in the end? Absolutely not. If it did, 4.5, 5 stars maybe, just because it is about it's like a commentary on like the dark side of football. That's an interesting premise, and I think that enough, and the way it's executed, definitely leads me to kind of have a bias to like this movie. Like I wanted to like this movie. I went in wanting to like this movie, and I liked it. And I think again, cinematography wise, I think it is one of the best looking and shot movies of the year.
Boom, say it right there.
Yeah, I think it is one of the best. I couldn't believe it. Every single shot. There's like one shot, I'll mention one more shot in particular, when Marlon Wayans is getting right up in Cameron's face, and you can see POV through the helmet.
So good.
And like it cuts back and forth too. It's like sometimes the close-up,
the blacked out visor.
Sometimes like it's the blacked out visor, so you can't see his face. Sometimes it's inside the helmet, and then there's the shots in the trailer where like the camera's really close and they're like looking at each other.
Oh yeah,
and like yelling at each other, like right up close to each other. I just thought it was all really well done. There's tons of shots that I'm probably not remembering, but like every single choice that they made from I forgot exactly who shot this, but whoever it is, like they're gonna.
And we'll throw them up here. The cinematographer.
Yeah, exactly. The cinematographer, whoever it is, like they should get more work after this. Like
again, you said it was like Nope. It was shot like Nope.
Shot like Nope. It's also just again very inventive, like music video, even that type of stuff. Like
I've never seen a movie like this.
Yeah, I've never seen a movie like it.
It's a very unique film.
And like, yeah, it'd be a shame if like this person didn't work anymore. They should get more work on like better written movies because it would be amazing. And I think that's kind of where I want to leave it. Is like, it's kind of it's a messy pack. Like the kind of the meat of it maybe isn't all there, but the packaging, certainly like the graphic design in front of the packaging is like amazing. So kind of everything, 3.5 out of 5. What about you?
You know, again, we walked out of the film really centering in on the fact that we could really feel why Jordan Peele really fucked with this and would put Monkey Paw Productions, a big name now in the film industry, especially horror, behind a film like this. And I actually was a little bit different from you. Wasn't walking into the film really looking to love it. I mean, a movie we'll talk about soon here, Demon Slayer. I was looking forward to just loving the shit out of that movie. After this, and after that experience coming out of it, man, what a happy surprise. And given how low of expectations I had coming into it and how much I think I wanted to hate, I'm finishing out of 4 out of 5 big ol' MVP awards.
Okay.
That is one of the best horror films of the year. Again, I'm not walking. It's like the strengths of the film are exactly what I want out of a horror film. Like I don't need the writing and the plot to be there so like strong that like I know people think this is messy, but I think the structure of this movie is so sound and it's tight and they know what they're doing and the message is so clear that it's like such an enjoyable watch in that way that I think I have to give it. It's a light 4. Don't get me wrong. There are stronger 4s I've given this year, but that light 4 I think is exactly what this movie deserves. It's getting too much hate. But I mean, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, Chris. I don't think some people are going to love like everything that comes out of what you might need to know about football entering this and how interesting that commentary can be if you haven't spent even 5 minutes learning about how the NFL kind of interacts with American psyche and stuff like that. Like that's what this movie is centering in on. Any good horror film's got something to say, I think, beyond the jump scares and the really fun cinematography. But like we've already talked and waxed poetic about a lot of it. I do want to finish on being like, look, I want to see what Justin Tipping has next. Like I am very interested to see the direction. Again, I think they got to work on their writing, like we chatted about a lot.
Yeah,
it's a light 4 out of 5 for me for many of those reasons.
A better script with this movie would be maybe a top 3 movie for me.
One of the films of the year, if the movie
Yeah.
script actually stood on its own, like it could stand on its own outside of the really fun bells and whistles that are the structure of the
Because
movie.
obviously in America, there'd be a huge market for this movie because it's a
God,
horror
yeah.
movie and it's about our nation's most popular sport by far.
That's coming out like we are in week 4 or
That's the
week
thing,
3 of the NFL
it's coming
season
out
now.
during the NFL season. Ratings for the NFL just keep getting higher.
Yeah.
And like if this movie got good reviews, it would lead into like to better word of mouth, and then more people would probably see it and like give it a shot. I think the reviews just dragged it down so much where, you know, people are just not interested in this movie at all. Like, I don't know. I'm sure that the screenings probably just, I'm sure across the country, they probably, not too many people have seen this movie. But
hey, I think we're proud to say that we have seen it and we really liked it.
Yeah, we liked it. So
it's a pretty cool film.
Yeah.
I really don't. We need to do a top 10 at the end of the year. I think this might crack the top 10.
It might be an honorable mention by the end of the year.
That'll be fun.
Sure. It'll be an honorable mention at the very. I'm not sure it's going to crack top 10.
Yeah,
but it'll definitely be honorable mention.
Hey, stay tuned December, January for something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, we went from thinking we weren't going to review this movie at all to doing maybe close to an hour like we normally do.
Yeah.
But that brings us officially to the end of this episode of Pinoys versus the World, as always, executively produced by Jonas Hyllseth. And, you know, we got a busy couple of months coming up for films. I mean, one battle after another is coming up. You'll see a Demon Slayer review here soon, probably after this. But I really got to thank you all for sticking with the channel and watching episodes like Andor and Naja. And if you'd like to subscribe or hit those noteworthy links below. I feel like noteworthy links is a very YouTube thing to say. But yeah, hit subscribe or as we've got a lot of movies to talk about coming up here. Anything else for the people?
I got nothing else. Yeah, there's just so many the trailers before the movie. I was like, oh, October 7th, October 10th,
it's
October
crazy.
15th.
The Smashing Machine. There's so much coming out.
There's so many just random movies coming out. So yeah, definitely we'll be seeing quite a few of them, both new and re-releases. I'm not sure how much we're going to talk about re-releases, but like
Princess Mononoke re-release.
That's crazy.
Incredible.
Back to the Future, we saw that. That's going to be released in IMAX for the first time. I was like, I didn't even know that print existed. But yeah, it's going to come back in IMAX. A lot of random movies. But yeah, that's what I'll say. That's all I'll say.
I'll end this episode like we end every episode by saying, my name is Harald Hyllseth.
My name is Chris Angkico.
And we will speak with you all in the next episode of Pinoys versus the World. Peace.